How will you address systemic racism and promote equity in areas such as criminal justice reform, education, and economic opportunities?
Well, I think when it comes to racism, there's some people that you're just not going to change their mind. Like some of us as people are going to have to grow up and realize that some folks are going to be racist. You know, if you're
Like
actively being racist, that could be harassment, assault, whatever. I mean, those things are already illegal. And, you know, we're going to take the steps, take the measures to make sure that those people face charges for those crimes. But facing charges isn't going to make them not racist. So, I mean, in the sense of stopping racism, you just can't. But as far as police force, we are going to backtrack. Less money needs to go to police. You know, less federal training for police. We don't need to send DEA officers to police departments in order to train them for anything. The states can handle that within themselves. No National Guard training state police, nothing like that. We're going to back up the laws on marijuana. Absolutely, marijuana is going to be federally decriminalized. It's going to be federally legal. As long as you are a United States citizen in the U.S., you can possess marijuana completely legally. We're going to make a federal law that you can't arrest black people specifically. I forgot the question.
Just a caveat.
I forgot
Just
the
at
question.
the very end.
I tuned out because I was like, oh, okay, we're done. I should have been like, no more questions.
You eventually, your subconscious came out and you're just like, this is what I really want.
Joe Biden.
All right. So my answer to solving the issue of race in America, I agree with a lot of what you said in terms of like the idea of racism. We can try to do our best to educate people and to, give them experiences that can, open their mind and change their worldview. But in reality, yes, there are always going to be people who are going to look at people of a different nationality, skin color, whatever, as lower than them. That's unavoidable. However, I think if you want to look at what is truly oppressing in America, specifically these groups of people, I agree with you. It is 100% the police. It is 100% the government. I think the criminalization of drugs has done a huge damage to black communities, Hispanic communities, whatever, any minority group. I think that it is a vessel for the government to then discriminate against its people. And drugs is the easiest way to do that. Oh, you have a drug. Okay, now I can arrest you, take you from your home, lock you in a cell, and then retroactively charge you. I don't think there's any reason that the police should be able to do that for anybody. My first step in solving that issue would be to completely legalize all drugs. And then I would push for complete abolishment of the police. I think they are a malicious force. I don't see why they need to be there. So
I wouldn't abolish the police completely. I think the idea of the police, of what they were supposed to be, is a very good idea. I think the police were taken extremely too far, though. They were given way too much power opposed to what they're supposed to have, or opposed to what they show that they have. Fuck. Yes. I said that right the first time. They're given way too much power. There's too much police. It's an absolute overload. And they're expected to do too many things that I don't think any person can really just be held to that type of standard consistently 24/7.
Yeah, I mean, look, to an extent, an olive branch, to police, I actually do agree with that. I think that, like, if just in terms of like human to human, right? Like the idea that you have to limit your self defense, like if somebody's like charging at you, like you're not able to defend yourself by any means. Like on a human, I mean, obviously, in my mind, anyways, if you're part of the police, you're carrying those edicts out and you're opposing their will on other people. So there's something malicious in that. I'm just talking like from a human standpoint. offer that olive branch. But I mean, the police operate by the law, and the law is always.
But many times they don't.
Yes.
Because they've been given so much power. I would deunionize police for sure.
Well, I guess that's my point, though, is like the law in it. Like, okay, let's just say what they're supposed to do, right? What their job is supposed to do. The law is always subject to bias.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take this example. An old lady signs paperwork for a business to have a lifetime supply of chocolates sent to her house, and she signs this check and the paperwork and all that to pay them like $20,000, let's say, whatever, some ridiculous amount. There is a legal precedent for both sides of that argument that are completely valid. One being, they took advantage of this old lady and took all her money. This is wrong. And then there's another side of the argument where it's like she signed something that's a legally binding contract. Like she voluntarily made that agreement. Like they so that bargain should be upheld, right? Like in any law, in any situation,
if
there's
they
always
fulfilled the contract, if they fulfilled their end, then I don't think there's any argument. Unless it's like medically proven this is dementia.
This is what I'm saying is that this is your bias. This is your interpretation of the law. My point is there are multiple infinite interpretations of the law that are always subject to bias. So there's this idea that there's this big the police are the police in the state are in the interest of the law, which is supposed to be in the interest of people.
Yeah, but there's no
bullshit.
bias in law. There's no bias in that law. If she doesn't have a medical reason, like if there's no medical proof that she has dementia, she's mentally there and she signed a contract and they fulfilled the contract.
But there's a completely different side of the argument that would say it doesn't matter if she has dementia. Just the mere fact that she was, whatever illusioned or kind of like coerced into this.
Okay, so
I'm just saying that that's a side of the argument.
Coerced in what way?
Like coerced to like say like, hey, this is going to be a really big. You like chocolate? You really like chocolate? Hey, just sign this. Like whatever. Hey, you just got to do this to your house. Like there's talking. There's ways to talk it out, right? Like there's ways to talk them around it. So
I mean, the deal sounded.
I guess my point is there's always a bias in the law.
Straight up.
To you
said
this is my point. Is you are interjecting your bias into the situation and asserting that this is how it goes.
There's the contract. Did they fulfill it or did they not?
It doesn't matter if they fulfill it or they...
How did you get coerced into fucking buying a lifetime supply of chocolate? Like what? We need a better scenario for it to lay this out.
I'm not.
What the fuck?
I'm not gonna explain.
Because it sounds like if you got chocolate sent to your house once a month from them,
it doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is the initiation of the law. We're done. I'm not doing this a third time.
I mean, that's people defending themselves. If you ask me, she didn't defend herself very correctly. She signed the fucking contract.
Our producer's over this bullshit. He's like, just fuck it.
All right, post your votes in the comments. Who's the president?
$20,000 for chocolate once a month.
It doesn't matter what the number is. It can be any number. It can be one. It can be $1 million.
$1 million for chocolate
It doesn't matter. The point is the law, dude. The point is that there's a bias every fucking time.